Like, is that
Right.
one
Ready,
of the
boss man?
lines? Is that one of the lines in Migos?
Lovely. All right, guys. Welcome to this episode of Sidewall Convos. We are really excited to have none other than Superman Paul Coll on today's episode. So let's give it
Yay.
up for
Thanks for being here.
No worries. Thank you for having me.
handsome lad for the first time in the studio. Not dissing you, Yao,
What?
by the way. Just saying. Okay, so in case you don't know who this man is, okay, I'm going to read out some of the achievements because if I did read out every single achievement, it's going to take the entire hour and whatever we have. So,
You trying to get me
first-
excited or what?
Getting it
Just
pumped.
glazing you up, bro.
Getting it
What a
pumped.
start.
Okay, so first male Kiwi world number one ever, 2 times British Open winner, Hong Kong Open champion, US Open champion, 2 times Commonwealth gold medalist, 1 time silver, 1 time bronze, and 25 PSA titles.
Jesus Christ.
So not bad. Only 25 more to catch up to Mo, but not bad. Okay, and he's known as Superman because you like to dive. Let's get into that.
I
I don't
like,
see
I
that
don't,
so much anymore.
I don't like
Yeah,
to
not so
dive.
much. Yeah.
It hurts.
Yeah.
But sometimes my movement or I don't read the game too well and I got to get
You
that
do it
ball
when you have
back.
to.
Then I've got to get it back. But my coach hates it.
Right.
Says you never see Jansha Khan diving.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, that's something that's never pre-planned. It's just
It just
comes out.
happens?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I don't think anybody's watched him. If you have watched him, will ever say that your movement's bad. Right. I mean, come
Yeah,
on, dude.
Exactly.
We were just talking about his movement on the way here in the car, and he was like, "Oh, I'm pretty sure there's like players on tour that move better than me." Like, I wouldn't say who, but he did mention that like there's some players that he like to move like. But I think he's in the minority of thinking that probably the only person in the world who think that, even though he's literally the person that moves like that, right? And he's saying, "I want to move," whinging.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So we get into it, right? Okay. Right. Oh, we did shoot that video yesterday. We're not gonna reveal what it was, but just to put it in perspective, right? We did shoot like a pretty interesting exercise challenge with Paul yesterday, and he made this comment that really pissed me off. He was like, "Oh, I don't know how to like frame this exercise to make it like like at your guys' level." I'm just like so past that already. That like I just
Too elite.
yeah, just like post-human already, bro. And like
Well, I mean, it was like, yeah, I mean, we started, it was what, like a 4 or 5 round thing?
yeah, it
And
was.
you called me in after the first round of running.
Yeah, but that was like tactical though. It's
Tactical,
like,
was it?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was the hardest.
But
Like,
you came last.
it's because they cheated.
you might want to review those
I'm
tactics,
honest,
bro.
dude.
Bad tactics.
I want a video review on this. Where's the VAR? But yeah, I mean, like I did remember like
We had a fun time.
Yeah, we did. It was a lot
sure?
of fun.
Yeah. I mean, not at the end.
I've got a video that doesn't look too fun, huh?
It was fun like
Not
after
right
the fact.
after. Not right after
Yeah.
for sure. But yeah, I did enjoy it. It's a good
Yeah,
time.
it was good. Yeah, I do remember him posting like because he has obviously uses the band, right? I remember you made a post about like your heart rate numbers after a match with like Farag, I think.
Yeah.
And like to put it in perspective, his heart rate was at like 170 for like 99% of the match for a 2-hour long match. So like that's pretty inhuman, I would say. Like that basically means he's not tired for the match. So it's like, has that been your experience? Like on your average PSA match, right? How often do you actually get like tired nowadays?
Not too much.
Right.
Luckily, obviously, it a lot depends on how I'm mentally feeling, how mentally stressed I am. I've worked out that actually costs more energy than any sort of physical damage that can do. So a lot of my time nowadays is spent trying to be in the right frame of mind going into a match, because I feel like if I am in the right frame of mind, then, you know, physically I can sort of push through anything. Even if I'm tired, I feel like I keep my speed pretty well and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, some of the matches against Ali are pretty interesting stats. It's like I'm in zone 5 for like 50 minutes of the match, you know. But
Really?
I operate at a pretty high heart rate anyway. I think everyone's different at what they sort of where their heart rate sits, but I sit pretty high, especially in a tough 5-setter like that quite often. Like I said, sometimes it's, you know, around 50 minutes in zone 5, which is
it's a long time.
It's a lot, yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, it's like I said, I think for some reason I just, even running, I'm straight into that zone for, you know, a lot of time, pressure sessions and stuff. And squash and running's the only really thing that I can get myself into that zone. Like I've tried biking a lot, because obviously it's
Yeah, I get that.
less impact on the body, but man, I can't touch
Same.
Hard
Touch
Yeah.
180, you
Right.
know, and I need to.
Even if you're doing bike sprints.
I can't do it, man. My
Right.
legs just go before that.
Yeah.
Lactic build up. So it's weird. But then I speak to some other people and they
They can hit it.
You know, Greg
Yeah.
Marsh, I know he was saying he does a lot of biking, and I'm like,
Yeah, like
I
the French
asked him, I was
boys
like,
as
yeah,
well,
I
they
can't
love
get
that
into
stuff.
zone 5, but I live in zone 5 in a match, so I need to emulate that in my training. And he's like, yeah, he gets into it. But so maybe it's, I don't know, technical thing or.
I feel like it's more of like a getting used to it thing, because like they do like lots of like long slow distance on the bike, so like their body's like conditioned to be able to utilize more of their like biking muscles already. So like
Yeah.
just like doing sprints on the bike's enough to get them that zone.
Probably, yeah. Like I said, I haven't really dived into it. I did a lot of biking when I was younger, and I had like an injury, and I just biked for like 2 months, and that's when my quads exploded.
Yeah.
From then, I have been careful about how much bike I do, because I don't want my legs to get too big.
That's
Yeah.
such a Paul
That's a good
Coll
problem to
That's
have.
such a Paul Coll
I
problem.
like my
Like I'm
leg
just
to
too
be
freaking
massive.
henched that like I need to like maintain myself. I like just can't go more superhuman.
How did you get your nickname? Like who gave it to you?
Joe Barrington gave it to me.
right.
It was
Okay.
with after that one rally with James Woolstrop, where I dived 3 times.
Right.
My first taste of fame for the wrong reasons, I think. But yeah, that was from that match. It was I was getting sponsored by I at the time, and he was with I, and he was always looking for a nickname, and it just rolled off when that sort of rally happened. So
Okay.
yeah,
Perfect. Okay.
So is that like a good nickname, or like something you kind of just like, oh, I wish I had like.
I could
You
never,
happy with that?
I could
Yeah.
never. I don't mind it, but I could never call myself it. You know,
Yeah, it's a bit cringe.
It's a bit.
Yeah.
It's not in my character to run around calling myself that. It's a lot to live up to.
Yeah.
But it's a cool. It's obviously, you know, branding, having your own brand in sport is important, and
Yeah.
something I've rolled with. So too late to turn back now, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Honestly,
It's a good question, actually. I'm doing my new playing shirts at the moment.
Yeah.
And you obviously know I've got
I like
Superman
it.
written on my
Yeah.
back. Do
Yeah.
I keep that, or do I change it to my...
I feel like you have to keep it. You have
I've
to
got
own it now.
I've got a PC logo
Yeah.
that I've just changed to, and
Yeah.
I'm in between them. I don't know what
As
to
in
do.
the PC in the Superman.
No. It's a new logo.
No, but that's cool though. Like I like the sound of that.
So I don't know. I don't know what to choose. If you bear with me for
Yeah.
Yeah, you can just show the audience. It's fine.
2 seconds.
Yeah.
So everyone's obviously seen the Superman writing.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Come on, surely I've got it here. See?
That's actually class.
I don't
Like
know.
it's like Sharpie on though.
Because I did it myself.
Yeah.
My technology skills aren't that good, bro.
Did you see it?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we'll get it up on the screen if we can, but it does look good. It does look quite good. I do feel like you should own the Superman
Yeah, I
thing
don't
though.
know.
It should be like Superman PC. You know?
Yeah, maybe I do that in a smaller I don't know.
Yeah.
But, obviously that's me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Walking around. I remember I did one exhibition once. I've done loads. This came out once. Someone's like, "Oh, it's a bit confident walking around with Superman on his back." I was like,
Look, that's Clark Kent.
Yeah. I'll feel so bad about myself if somebody told me that though. It's
I got
so,
self-conscious, man. I was
yeah.
like,
Oh shit. No, but I think it's cool though. I feel like you're one of the few players that have like sort of thought outside the box of their branding, because like obviously you do UE as well, UE Athletica, and like before that it was PC clothing.
Yep.
Yeah, like you're pretty much the only player, as far as I know, that's like tried to sell their own
Brand,
clothing and
yeah.
their brand, and like at the right time as well, because like especially here in Singapore, you're like such big news. Like everybody is like, oh, Superman,
Yeah.
you know, that everybody's so into you, and like some of my mates actually bought some of your clothing, and I was like, yeah, I can totally see why he'd do that, because like that's at a point where like everybody was you're sort of coming into the scene like top 20, then top 10, and then finally top 5, like before that, and like. That's great marketing, I think, that like not other players really like sort of think about, you know?
Yeah, it's something I've always been into as well. Like I like clothing, I like video, I like what you guys are doing here, how good a quality it is and stuff. And so I've always been interested in that. I sort of lose interest when I think squash is very amateur in this respect, and I lose. I love creating and I love content, but I don't like it when it's like me just shooting on my phone. I sort of lose interest in that a bit. Whereas creating cool content, I'd be right into. But it's obviously, I think, like I said, squash is still a very amateur sport in some aspects, especially the marketing side of
that's
things.
how we feel as well. Like the sport isn't being people who are not doing justice to the sport, I feel, compared to the other sports. And that's why we're kind of like trying to go in this direction and see how it goes to give the sport some justice, which you athletes all deserve,
But it's got to be done at like the proper level, right? And I think, I love like PSA like 12 months ago we're doing really cool slow-mo.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But it's
cool.
gone, Like Singapore, there wasn't one video, like cool slow-mo video. I'm like, what are you, like, that's so cool. It shows off our sport, how when you get those slow motion dives, and we need that more and more and more, because you just never know when that stuff's going to go viral. But nothing's going to go viral if it's like shot and it's like blurry slow motion. It's got to be crystal quality content to grow.
It's that production value that like really brings it in, right?
We were also talking about like squash being able to have like stats. How many rallies, how intense are the rallies? What the error rate is, what the win, winning shots, like how many, the stats based on those things.
I think at one point they were kind of doing that. Like, I don't know if they forced you guys to wear like the heart rate monitor and like they kind of showed up on screen. Like sometimes
it's cool.
That was kind of cool. But like if you look at other sports like tennis or even like netball and volleyball, they have like stats teams where like they show like, oh, this is the amount of aces they make on the deuce or the ad side, or like percentage points won on which side, like, and squash is like really missing that. Like one of the things I kind of thought about was like, you have to show like why it is that these guys are so much like better than like your typical club player, right? And that's what tennis players like really good at, like, and they show like, oh, they like, for example, like, I don't know, Djokovic aces 70% of the points that he serves in, whatever it is, right? But like squash doesn't really have that, like, and I was just talking with him like on the way here, like it'd be really cool to have like shots per minute, right? You have like one of the fastest paces on tour, right? Just like a consistent pace. Like if it was like me and him playing, it might be like 20 shots per minute. Or if it's you versus Diego, it's probably like 50 or 60, maybe even more. Like who knows? Like stuff like that really puts into perspective like how good you guys are, and like it makes like, I'm a stats nerd. I love like reading stats and all that, and like seeing for like athletes, like I think that's really cool. And like that side of like squash is like really not touched on.
I completely agree, and I think when we're doing the heart rate stuff, that was really cool because squash is its unique thing is its physicality. What we operate at is like our unique selling point, right? And I think that heart rate thing was premium. I know they're trying to get it back in the right way, and I think you're right. Like I think the commentary is pretty good, but I think where they can improve is, I feel like they make it sound too easy what we're doing, so then everyone thinks they can do it. It's almost like we need to somehow show the difference between pro and amateur, because I think it just looks like I watch a lot of golf, and the commentators are telling you just how impossible this shot is, and it is impossible.
It is. But only if you know what's happening.
But then they put it to 5 foot, and it's like it makes them look really good, and it's like But they describe how hard the shot is and how much stuff can go wrong, and then they execute it, and it makes the pros look, which they are, that much better. Like me and you try and hit that shot, it's not going to happen. But you know what I mean? Like they make it. They make you understand how hard it is, and then the pro executes it. And I think that's a good example, whether it's shots per minute, whatever, heart rate, like the pace. I don't know what it is, I don't have the answer, but just to make it not sound so easy.
So the video we did yesterday definitely showed that. Right?
Yeah, I was disgusting.
So it's good. We're giving it, we definitely showing the difference between what the elite level fitness is compared to amateur level. Just in the fitness content, right? But hitting the shots and the rest of that, I think is just going to be insane if you can do that for squash.
Squash just needs to find some way to really like, I don't know if you've had this moment before where like, for example, I'm watching like the pros, or like even when I was a junior, like watching like Yao play, I was like, I could hit that shot. Have you had that kind of moment before? Like I could do that.
Yeah, I will feel like yes. Yeah. But then being on there and playing somebody better at a higher pace, then you're gonna feel like you can't, because you don't have the time.
Exactly. But that's the thing, like you get it, right? Like if I would play him, he's gonna just annihilate me. But it's not gonna show unless like he's playing against somebody else and like they look like they're really hotly contested. Like I feel like at the elite level, it's really hard to explain to a layman like why it is that he's so freaking good, or like Diego or Ali or like whoever they are, it's like make it look so freaking easy. And that's the problem, they make it look too easy.
And that's exactly what I was saying. Like I play I do like quite a few exhibitions. I enjoy it, but I'll quite often hit with club members, and I'll play all these shots, and they're like, "Why don't you do this in PSA?" Well, I was like, "Well, I don't have 4 minutes to play." The ball's not just sitting there for me like it is against a club play, you know. And but that's the type of thing that it's very hard to understand from squash, because the top guys make it look like they have time, but you can't play all the shots because the ball's 2 foot deeper, it's in the back wall, whereas they leave it in the service box, and you have, you know, so there's a load of stuff, but again, it's how do you show that? You know, and that's the problem we need to solve is how do you get it across that the sport's bloody hard? And it's not easy. But I guess that's every sport, isn't it? That's every professional sport. Pros make it look easy. So but I think that's a key for squash, because it's a hard sport, but it comes across easy on TV almost.
I think for every sport, like it always, like every pro in every sport's gonna make it look easy. And it's like, I can do that, but you can't do that. You know? And like I think PC kind of gets it right for like certain things. Like, you know, they have highlights of like, well, Yusuf Ibrahim like doing this every single time. You know, that looks really cool and interesting, right? But like getting that across is kind of difficult, and like, and PC's tried like different things. I know Rami's done his like RAM scoring system to try and make the points more interesting and make you have to go for those winners. But like, they just need to, I don't think they need to break the formula, but they just need to, I don't know, man. It's a tough one to answer, you know, because like, obviously you're not going to change the way you play, right? You're not just going to go for the nicks and all that, like off of like shots that are like this close to the sidewall, right? But PSC needs to find a way to market that side of things, like especially when like Olympics is coming around, you know, and like it's important.
Yeah, but I don't think we need to change the thing, because we have plenty of exciting rallies every tournament. It's like you watch a golf tournament. It's not like every shot is exciting, right? Like
that's annoying, isn't it? It's
they
like,
have one shot that's exciting, and then the clip goes, right? We have plenty of rallies where people are diving, people are doing court sprints, but it's how do we translate that to the audience so they understand, to non-squash, right? Everyone in squash understands, so fine, it's not our problem. It's how do we grow it beyond that? And then how do we get people realizing, that's actually cool, isn't it? Look what he's doing. And I don't think you need every single point. Like, it's not changing the scoring system so it becomes, because every tournament there's a match that's like ridiculous. There's a rally that's ridiculous, and that's all you need virtually to get it going viral. But how do you showcase that? And I think that comes from stats, it comes from production quality, cameras. Like, I'm not going to watch something that's not super clear slow-mo.
And like,
we're not in that day and age, you know. It's
like PC's kind of done that in the past. Like, I don't even remember there was like that one,
there was a stage where
they had like
slow-mo rallies
like, on top of the court, that camera angle. Like, it was like, I remember it was like Willstrop and Gawad, I want to say, in like the World Series finals, I think, in like Dubai, they had that camera right on top. That was such a cool angle. It's like being a club player again, watching your I don't know, your club finals or whatever it is, like looking over that court, and it's like a dynamic movement. You know, that looks awesome. And you know, and like a lot of people comment on like squash TV videos and saying like, hey, like that court level camera angle, like that looks really cool. Like I can actually see them moving. You know,
feels like you're on court a bit more with
exactly them. And that's how you really depict like how it is that these guys are moving, you know, because like if you're watching from like 50 meters away,
you can't really see clearly what's happening.
They just look like they're playing normal squash, which is really not the case. They are getting onto everything like twice as fast as like amateurs do. But like, finding those different angles, you know, finding ways to depict like how crazy these guys are and what they do, like that's something that's all needs to be done. I think one of the reasons why we're doing this as well is like getting this content creation sphere for like squash is like very new. And that's something that I think squash surely needs as well, because like I think other sports are doing it pretty well, like golf. Like there's so many things that's been done with golf that I think is just amazing. And like the only content creation that really exists for squash is like purely educational, and it's just like very dry. It's like, this is how you hit a drop shot. You know, like, oh, get your racket up, keep the racket face open, do the shot. Like,
I guess that's how golf started, right? Like in YouTube, it was all tutorial stuff. But I also think there's a lot of incorrect technical stuff in squash. I think it's...
So be careful with what you pick.
But I think what you guys are like, right, like get a bit more fun, like, right? People were going to come back because it's funny. There's something else. Then you can tie in some technical stuff as well. I think YouTube golf has got it like perfect at the moment. It's one of the biggest industries there is at the moment. Squash is obviously harder because Like I've done a couple with squash experts, probably you guys rival, whatever. But it's
Thank you.
It was quite cool. But it's hard to do a lot of stuff with squash because it's so high paced.
Yeah, it is.
And you don't want to just sort of start mucking around because that's not squash.
Yeah, it's not.
So again, how do you show this? How do you do that? I think what we did the other day was really cool. I think it's gonna be a cool video.
Yeah,
stuff like that's very fun. But again, it's like when you're purely squash, how do you do it?
It's not gonna be the the case where like we stop and like, hey, like how's that rally?
So I think I have a really good idea. I think this way will work. So
we'll be the judge if it's a good idea.
Okay. So what we did yesterday highlighted the fitness side of it, right? So we can do something similar to highlight, maybe the consistency of hitting, the accuracy of the shot, right, and get that slows everything down, right?
Yeah.
So then we can start breaking it.
Why didn't you ask me to do that?
Exactly. Next time.
I think this like I feel like the format itself doesn't lend to being presented in the same way as like, for example, golf. But I feel like there's a lot of ways you can actually get around that and like try and show like the interesting side of squash, right? Like
100%. And that's what you guys, that's what you guys are doing.
Yeah. So like it just has to be exploited in a different way.
100% agree.
Yeah.
Paul, tell us a bit more about being, the first ever, Kiwi player to break through into the scene, to make it all the way to the top, to number one. Tell us a bit more about that and how, what started you in your journey, and why did you decide to pursue it? Man,
it was.
Take your time.
Craziest year of my life, I think. So
how old were you?
Sorry?
How old were you?
So 30. 30.
Not now.
Oh, sorry. When
you first started.
When I first started. Okay. When I first started, I was about 6.
Okay.
Just at a club. Played my first tournament when I was around 9.
Okay.
Was never the best until under 19. Then I got number 1 in New Zealand. Went away with the team. Was number 1. Went straight out of that into did university for a year plus playing PSA. And then I stopped that and just decided to give myself a couple years going at it. See if I gave myself a goal. If I reached this goal, then I would keep going. If not, I had my university to fall back on.
Okay.
Got to my goal, moved to Europe, same sort of thing, 2-3 years, see how it goes, give myself a goal, hit that, and just keep and then after that I committed to it, obviously. So it's been an interesting journey, and I was never, I would say I've always been the underdog in my whole career.
Even in your junior career?
Yeah, man. No one ever sort of thought of me as like it, which is fine. Like it was easy, no pressure, whatever. No expectation. It's fine. But then obviously when I reached number 1, it was like, shit.
Everybody smells blood in the water.
What is this?
Yeah.
And it was something very, very new to me. Looking back, it was a lot of stress on me and something I definitely wasn't ready for or wasn't used to, whatever. But at the same time, it was probably the best few months of my life.
Yeah.
It was just...
As in being a number 1.
Yeah, man. Just the coverage I got back in New Zealand, the people I met, like good friends with a couple of All Blacks now. Like just met them through that.
Damn.
Couple of the golfers, I messaged them on Instagram and stuff. I'm like, far out. What's this? This is stupid, man. Like I'm having FaceTimes with Israel Dag. He's like one of my favorite All Blacks that I grew up watching, and like he's giving me advice. I'm like, dude, what the hell
you had
is
a hit
this?
with the F1 driver too, didn't you?
Carlos Sainz.
Yeah, I saw that as well.
That's wild, bro.
Yeah.
So like my life was a fairy tale, bro.
Yeah,
Like, it was
mad,
the
bro.
coolest thing ever.
Right.
And but like it was an experience I had to obviously get used to, and meeting these people, I definitely caught up in like the dream that it was, and like I said, it was very new to me at the same time. So it took a bit of adjustment period, obviously, and I think I've learned a lot, man. Like I've met a lot of people, spoke to a lot of people, and learned a lot about myself. And I probably look back at my journey and sort of looked at things that held me back a bit, maybe, but also made me the person I was, which, was quite interesting. And I think that journey was something I'm still on it now, still learning now, and some of the biggest sort of things I've learned about myself were in this period, which is, they were obviously very tough times, but I learned a load about myself and a load about my journey as well, like I said, like things that I wish I could go back and changed how I was coming through. You know, everyone was like, "Oh, you could be a top 20 player," but they put a limit on my capabilities. You know,
like why top 20? Yeah.
Because I was shit.
Yeah.
You know, but like they would say top 20. I'm like, oh, sure, I could get to top 20.
Yeah.
But like you're putting a ceiling on me from here where I think my ceiling is, you know, so
higher.
Just a few things like that, which I don't blame them because, bro, I was not good. I was top 60 in the World Juniors.
Like, so how were you as a junior, right? And as a junior player, you know, going to PSA, were you always like kind of confident about yourself, or were you kind of like kind of unsure?
Definitely not. Definitely, self-confidence is definitely something I've struggled with because at
that age.
Yeah, man, and just I just wasn't your natural squash player. So, like I said, no one ever saw me as like the guy. Like it was always like I trained my ass off. I was the fittest there was. I chased everything down, but. Okay, I wasn't the guy that you go and watch and go, oh, that's a beautiful game of squash, you know? It's just like I just grind my ass off and I was fit. No one could get me tired. I was whatever, but it wasn't like your squash that you're going to be like. So I never had the confidence. It took me like I would have to play a couple of the good guys first and then get used to them. Like, oh, I can actually compete. And then I would go. I wouldn't be like
from there.
The first time, like, bam, I'm going to beat this guy. Like some people you come through and you just see them going at it. Like it would probably take me 2 or 3 times. I'm like, oh, actually, I'm not that far off. I can do this. And then I would get the confidence and then could go from there. But it's, like I say, it's a cool journey I've been on. And looking back, it's like, loads of stuff I would have done differently in the mental aspect.
That's why I think like so many of us are such big fans of you because we all feel like you're so relatable. You know, I'm not dissing you in any way. I'm not saying like you're not talented or whatever. But we can kind of identify ourselves to, you know, your qualities, like your hard work, you know, your discipline, your dedication, you know, to the sport. And it's good to see that that's getting paid off rather than just being talented in the sport and just, you know, you have to be talented in the sport to be good. But you definitely showed us a different side to the sport that anybody can make it if you put your mind to it and you put 100%. Your soul to it, right? So
thank you, man. So, that's something I'm very proud of is the way my journey. And that's, again, something, you know, as trying to like have the confidence to be myself, you know, and not like I have this problem where I will get to like number 2 playing really well and then I'll try and be someone else because it's like, am I good enough? You know, and it's like trying to get that confidence in who I am. And I think my mind and the way I think about things and the way I do, I think it's a great way to be, and that's how I've got to where I am because I'm always trying to learn. It's what I find the biggest drug about being an athlete is like that addiction to learning. You know, when I got to 1, it was like, okay, I can't do this, I can't do that, don't make a mistake, don't do this, don't do that, rather than having that like, you know, can I do this, can I do that? Like, why not me? You know, like it was almost like a fear of like, okay,
it's like imposter syndrome almost.
Right, exactly. Man. It's like, I can't do this, I can't do that.
Right.
Don't make a mistake, you know, like don't play this shot. And
so
it's
all
like,
of a sudden your game kind of changes with that mentality, right?
You know,
you're almost running away from it as opposed to it,
exactly, man. Rather than me just thinking like, okay, I can play this shot. How am I going to break him down? This, can I do this shot? Can I play this? Well, okay, and now I learn this shot. It's, you know, and that's something that 100% changed for me when I got there. And then last season I got it back and I was like learning the game again and trying new stuff. Then even again this season, I think when I got to 2, I was like, far out, I'm closing in again on 1, I'm feeling really good. Boom, it's hit me, you know, and I'm like, did the same, like, fire out, man. Learn, fucking learn. But it's a journey, man. And like I say, it's
the mental side of it is massive, right? Your mind kind of plays tricks on yourself, but you kind of have to learn how to kind of overcome it or maintain it.
I always hear this thing like, it's easy when you're, you know, like, you don't have to worry, you're at the top, it's easier mentally. Like,
does anybody actually say that?
Yeah, they think it's hard, like going there is like losing first round and stuff. I'm like, but you have no expectations to go past first round, so you wait till you have the expectations. And I remember I was number 1, I lost like a semi-final and then 2 finals. And it was like I was a failure because I was losing in the final. You know, because I was 1. It's like the only thing you can do is win. Everything else is a fail. You know,
I think what really fascinates about what he's saying in particular is like compared to like yesterday's guest, his journey is like completely flipped up. So yesterday we actually had Yao on and like we were asking him because I grew up with Yao. Yao's like 1 year my junior, and I've seen his journey from start to where he is now. and what he's kind of said and thought about, going from being top of the juniors all the way until he was world junior champion, right? And as you said, like you kind of didn't have that sort of amazing junior career where everybody was keeping expectations on you, and then you learn all that stuff, right? And then you get to where Yao is now. Whereas you were like almost backwards, like your junior career was in stellar, as you said, but now you're world number one, right? And what it really shows is like it's never too late, pretty much. Like as long as you kind of have that belief in you, like your journey can take
everyone's on their own journey, Yeah, everyone's on their own journey.
Yeah, and as you said, like it's always a learning process, and like what all these like amazing athletes have is just that mentality of just like that drive to always believe that they can make it to the top. Like top 20 for most people is like,
yeah.
But you believe you can make it to all the way to the end, which you did.
Okay, so about that. So at what age were you like, okay, I think I have a real shot at this, and how old were you when you decided to move to Europe? For the first time, right?
Yeah. So I finished my junior career when I was 19, and I played the Aussie circuit for 2 or 3 years. They had a lot of 5, 10Ks.
Okay.
And it wasn't until I started winning those on a regular basis, and I got my ranking to basically like, I think it's like 80 to 90, and then you can't get it any higher even if you win more. And then I won probably like 4 or 5 of those before I went to Europe. And I think that was good. It taught me how to win. It taught me how to win finals in tough conditions. Like you play in Aussie in the middle of summer, no aircon. It's tough. And it just taught me to win tournaments there, which is, I think, was a great decision from me. Didn't do it on purpose. It was just worked out. And I learned how to win finals and beat, some tough people. And at that time, and then I moved to Europe. Started playing bigger tournaments, obviously, and just learning a bit. It was very
how old
new
were you
for me.
this time?
I was about 23, 22, 23.
Okay.
Been over there for about 10 years now.
Okay.
But I would just do like 3 months at a time. So go over for 3 months, go back to New Zealand for 3 months. And then I didn't need a visa. Obviously an expense thing as well. I couldn't afford just to be over there full time. So I'd do 3 months, go back, work with my dad for 3 months, go back for 3 months, work again for 3 months.
What do you do with your dad?
I just like
whatever.
Pick up wood, labor. I was painting, building. 8 till 5. Mate. I was training at 6.
He's like 8 till 5 now. Like
this is what people don't see.
Yeah, that's awesome.
The struggle and what he did, what he had to do to make ends meet. Right. This whole journey to get to number one is not as pretty as people think.
No, I was doing 6 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Yeah.
8-hour work shift in there.
But 6 a.m. to 8 p.m.
So I'd train before I went to work, and then I'd work 8 to 5.
Wait, so you were training before 6 a.m. and then
at 6 a.m. Okay. Then I'd go to work at 8 to 5. Then I'd do squash after that.
So you do a run or
just
whatever.
Like 3 months. Yeah, just gym, fitness in the morning, squash in the evening. Yeah. That was sort of like more my off-season stuff because I had to work and there's no tournament, so I had no money coming in. So I did that for not that long. Don't make me out as like some.
But still,
there's a couple, I'd do that for 3 months and go back to Europe, come back, do that. Yeah. So it was good though. Like my friends always take the piss out of me because I say I'm a painter because I did that once. I'm a builder, I did that once.
Picasso.
I feel like that builds into like your whole Superman thing because like that's like your Clark Kent and like now you are actually just Superman. So like you mentioned like the stress of being world number one almost didn't hit you until you were there. So like a lot of people say, I think like Mo and Ali and Rami have all said like the hunt for like being world number one is much easier than actually staying there. So would you agree with that statement or like?
Yeah, 100%. Like I think, but it's also like learning about like obviously Ali seems to have it done very well now, and it's it's just. You just got to work it out how how you're going to deal with it. And I hope, it's still not easy. Like I said, I think last season I went back to 2, and if I'm being completely honest, I probably got sucked into it a little bit again, like closing in on it, getting that and I probably guilty of it a little bit. I don't think I played my best squash this season yet for whatever reason. But yeah, it's tough, man. It's like nothing. It's weird though because, like I say, it was the best time of my life.
Yeah,
like man, I was flying around the world business class. I was meeting All Blacks. I was speaking to people. I was playing squash with F1 drivers. I was going in the pits. I was like living my dream. But then also the squash was a bit like there's a lot of pressure, a lot of stress came into it when I was on the squash. So my life out of squash was like mint, like a dream, bro. I was like,
yeah.
And then like I stopped. It really started to build on me, the stress of, don't know, you know, like I just felt myself getting tired in 45 minutes. And I'm like, man, am I unfit? Am I not training? But it's just the stress.
Yeah.
Got to me and
nervous energy.
Yeah, man, and just started eating away at me. So that was a big learning curve as well. You know, like in terms of what actually makes you, you're tired. Like I say, like your mental energy over your physical can kill you, you know. So
was that right about when you started Calm? Or
so after that season, I went to work with Dave Wood from Integrated Training. He works with Israel Adesanya as mental coach.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I hit up on Instagram and did some work with him, which was really good. Yeah, just taught me how to basically breathe and meditate properly. And you know, stress is good, but uncontrolled stress is not good. And that's what he sort of taught me, because obviously as a professional athlete, you're never not going to have stress, but you just need to learn how to deal with it and control it. And that was something very key for me. And like, again, like then my fitness came back. All of a sudden, I didn't start training again, but like all of a sudden I felt a lot lighter, I was freer playing again. So that was really cool again. It's just a wicked life skill and learning opportunity as an athlete that we're lucky to get. You know, like people go through life, probably don't even,
because you learn so much about yourself as you go.
Exactly, man. You know, you're operating at such a high level, so you learn, and these skills you take into your other areas of life, man. And you look at people in day-to-day life are probably suffering from a lot of stress about that, and it's like they can't operate properly, but because they're not in the limelight, they don't have to deal with it, and it just sort of goes unnoticed. Whereas we're lucky that we get this opportunity to learn about ourselves and grow. And as tough as it is, because you're operating under the eyes of everyone. But at the same time, it's like you learn so much about yourself, right?
Would you say the limelight's kind of something you actively like strive towards, or like not really?
It's not that big in squash, is it? Like it's not like you have your trolls and stuff online, but compared to other sports, it's nothing.
It's not as bad.
It's nothing, so it's not that hard. No, it's you know,
because like I think it's almost like a double-edged sword, right? Like if you compare like tennis or squash, like Medvedev or Djokovic, like it's so polarizing, like how they're dealt with. Like compared to squash, you're almost seen as like either a good guy or a bad guy all the time. Like I don't think you have to say like who the good guys or bad guys are, but like, you know, like, but I kind of feel like that kind of discourse like actually helps grow the sport a bit more, you know. So like, I think Joel actually mentioned this a while ago. Like he really likes that almost when it gets a bit ugly, right? Like when stuff gets a bit messy, like obviously there's blocking going on, like maybe double bounces don't get called.
A bit more drama.
Yeah, that drama, you know, like obviously like as a player, you don't want that, right? Actively, but like, do you feel like that's like a right direction for the sport to be taken, especially if like Olympics coming on the horizon?
I don't know, bro. I'm in the boat because I'm a squash fan as well.
Yeah,
I love watching just good squash.
Yeah,
I don't like watching when there's lets and
when
there's
it's
like
ugly.
people are crying. Blocking. I don't like that. It's not me. I like to watch squash. But the people who don't know squash, is that interesting to them? You know, I don't know.
What is it for the layman, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Because we're not going to grow our sport by pleasing people who already love squash.
That's true.
That's not how we're going to grow our sport.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't want that to be the reason, because but like, is it interesting to them? Or do they just not know what's happening? Like, why does this guy keep crying to the ref? Or why is this guy on the ground? Why they keep replaying the point? Is it interesting? Is it not? I don't know. And that's what I'm quite curious about.
It's almost like that. Like, I mean, you see, like
research must be done.
Like UFC promos, like it's almost like they always just try and egg them on. Like McGregor's been doing it like since the beginning of time, and like he made UFC into what it is.
That's interesting though, isn't it? Right, they're fighting. They're not like falling over and being like, it's actually interesting.
Like that kind of stuff.
His leg's actually broken.
That's true.
Not his toenail.
He's not soccer diving.
He got kicked in the leg.
But like I think that sort of stuff's actually like better than worse. Almost, I think you almost got caught up in it in a while back, and like there was a lot of people talking about it a couple of years back. I think maybe British Open, like you and Asal were like almost going like against each other online. I was like, oh, this is actually kind of cool. I was like actually invested like reading.
It wasn't me.
Was it you?
No.
Yeah, but like that kind of stuff, I think is like actually quite interesting and good for the sport. And like I feel like Squash TV on like the PSC is almost shying away from that. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah.
I think they're starting to post more controversial stuff.
Yeah.
You see like the Dasuki match when he got the conduct game, like they posted that. And stuff like that. They do starting to post it, which is interesting because I do think they're going down that route of like,
I don't know whether it's a good thing or a bad thing though.
You can't say it's a bad thing if people are talking about it, right?
Yeah. Well, it's like the whole thing of like bad publicity is still publicity.
You look in tennis, someone breaks their racket, they put it online.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And you're going to click on it, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's such a hard one. Like people, there's always that camp of like, oh, like, you know, squash is a gentleman's sport and like you should just try and play everything and like, and then there's also people who like actively like watching the drama.
Yeah, but I don't think you want to go down the route, the lit route, yes, I agree with like the rivalry, but I think that can be done in squash.
Yeah.
It's not the thing where there's 5 lets and we don't even know as squash people what the hell is going to happen. You know, that's not the answer. Not stop start. Yes, the drama. Yes, but not from lets and every point being decided by the ref. That's not growing a sport because you're not getting the exciting rallies.
Exactly.
You know, you're just getting people running into each other and then arguing with the ref. The ref decides who wins the rally. That's not exciting.
Yeah.
What do you think the state of refereeing is at the moment?
I don't think it's great. I don't think it's great, but at the same time, I don't hold it against them because
they don't get paid.
They're not professional refs, bro. They after a tournament, they're going to go back and work
9 to 5.
So it's hard to be like, come on, what are you doing? When if I'm playing a tournament, then I go back and work and don't train, I'm not going to be very good. So I don't think it's great. I think there's a lot of inconsistencies and stuff, but again, like I think it's hard to really blame them unless we sort of start. And the players don't make it easy. Like I watch some matches and I'm like, bloody hell, like it's not easy to get the right decision here. It's a tough refereeing job.
It is.
So a lot of it comes down to the players, whether they decide to play a certain way or not.
Yeah.
Not easy to control it, but I do think it's in a dangerous spot at the moment.
Yeah, because like squash is like quite interesting, right? Because if the two players agree to it, the squash can be really clean.
Right, we have practice matches and it's...
clean. And it's clean.
Yeah, it's clean.
It's clean as.
We ain't
having
50-lit decisions.
Yeah.
You know?
But like if you want to make it ugly, it can be really ugly.
It's hard as well. But it's like to hit winners on these boys these days.
It is. And you're talking about yourself here. Everybody's saying about you. Yeah.
Was there a point in your career where you stagnated?
I think I've had it. I'd say it's stagnated, but not really. Like I'll sort of plateau and then I'll all of a sudden win a big one and then it'll jump me up and then I'll go along and then, but I don't think I'm like plateauing. I just think it's a slow thing and then I break through and then it's like it, but I'm always trying to learn something cool. That's where I'm changing coaches or hitting partners, you know? So definitely I've got these things in my thing and all of a sudden I'll win a 15K, then I win a 50K and then I win a 100K and it comes out of nowhere sort of thing.
Right.
But it's like, does it come out of nowhere? Because I've been,
you
know, but yeah, it's, that's where I think, you know, like mindset wise is what I've been working out on the last couple of years is just to stay in that like, can I do this? Can I do that? Or how do I do that? How do I do that? I think that's a good way for me to be personally. Just what I enjoy as well.
Yeah. I think one thing I want to ask you, because like obviously you're somebody who's always looking for like every advantage they can to succeed on the court. Like it's a tough ask, right? For like somebody of your caliber to like suddenly change like their technique. At what point do you feel like that's gonna stop? You know, like just making like huge sweeping changes.
Yeah, but there's like a lot of small changes you can make.
Yeah. So you're against like making big changes at this point?
No, not if it's beneficial for me.
Okay.
But I think at this stage, I'm working with some of the best coaches in the world, and I don't think there's better coaches out there. So I'm not going to go searching for a new coach at this stage, but still areas that we're working on, still areas that we can get better, new shots we can play more, is stuff like that. So I'm just learning the game and trying to keep evolving. Like change my racket from a teardrop to a classic because the sweet spot's a little bit better. It just gives me a little bit more consistency. But you get 1% at the top level, it's huge. It's cliche as it sounds, but
I think one other thing I want to ask as well is like obviously you're like arguably the fittest player on tour. Like would you say for like your average person out there, like skill or fitness, which one would you try kind of bet more on, or which you value more of?
This, unfortunately, squash doesn't. You see unfit people at 20. You see very fit people at 20.
Yeah,
it's irrelevant. And squash is a tough one. I think it's tough, man, because my journey, I was like, I've never trained so hard from when I was 16 to 20, fitness wise.
Yeah.
Then I learned the game. Probably if I learned the game a little bit more earlier, and there's no reason you can't do both. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're talking about a full-time pro, you shouldn't be choosing one or the other. I wish I watched more when I was a junior and learned more. I was a bit naive in terms of watching and studying the top guys. I don't think I watched top guys until I was like 17 or 18. You know? So I wish I watched a bit younger and learned a bit more in terms of tactics, patterns of play and stuff like that. I just trained and played rugby and played golf, played squash. And I was super fit.
You just did lots of different sports.
Yeah. But I didn't. I just wish I probably had a bit more of a brain where, like I said, I watched and learned the game a bit more. It wasn't until sort of like I moved over to Europe and started playing PSA at like 19 that I was like, okay, that's what happens when you do that. From a more of an analytical point of view, I was just training and playing. And not. Yeah, so I just wish I did that a bit more. But I mean,
like when you were growing up, like, because you said that you only, like you said, you only started playing like 16 and 19, like you started being more exposed to that sort of thing. Like, what was it like being like a young junior in New Zealand, where it's not necessarily like a country that produces like tons of elite players like Egypt? Like, how is it like you progressing from that point to like where you are right now? Because like that's a huge jump, you know, like.
I think I was very lucky. When I was 16, I had we had a good setup in New Zealand. We got our national coach is Anthony Ricketts. Former world number 3. He came into my life and then just pushed me like I've never been pushed before, man. Like crazy. But like my personality and the environment that he created, the group of guys we had, we had the best time. You know, we were training 3 times a day, but like we were best mates at the same time, living in Auckland and one thing, just training together. And it was wicked, man. Like it was, and I was very lucky that I had that when I was that age. And I think, especially in New Zealand at the moment, I think that's lacking at the moment. We've just got a new national coach, which is great. And hopefully we build a similar environment to that, because we're so isolated. I think it needs to be a centralized program there. And I think that's, like I said, I was very lucky. He got me out to Auckland. I moved up there, trained with him and trained with the boys and stuff. And that's what got me. And then we had a good physical trainer. So we had a really, really good setup. And I think that's, if I didn't have that, I don't know if I would have went pro. So I count when he came into my life at that time, I was lucky.
Big milestone.
It was a big sort of, that pushed me in that direction, basically taught me. And he taught me what it took to train to be a professional. He was probably arguably one of the fittest or hardest trainers there was. And he taught me what it took to be that. And I think that was also key, because I just took that for the rest of my career. I know what it takes to do that. And so that 4 years was very crucial for me.
Was number one something that you had in your mind all the way through? Or was it at one point you're like, okay, I think that's really achievable now?
Yeah, like I said, it definitely wasn't. But I also think that's because I was always told.
Yeah, you had that limit of 20.
Which is what my biggest regret, you know, like it's like, So then someone told me I could be top 20 and I was like, no way. You think? But then that's what my ceiling was there, you know, and I sort of hit that. And then I went to, maybe I can get top 10. You know, and it wasn't like, and that's just, and I don't, like I said, I don't hold it against anyone, because it's like it was just there. But it was like, I wish I had that belief that I could get to one, and then it wouldn't have been such a I don't know, who knows, but I just feel like that just all the stuff I've been doing over the last 2 years, I think that's something I've come to, and it's like like it wasn't until I sort of reached, I don't know why, it's just that one comment that someone made. It was like, I remember them telling me like, you can be top 20, and I'm like, no way. I was like,
take that,
dreaming, mate.
But I guess like for you, like as you said, it's so cliche for me to say this, but it's all about the journey, not the destination, right? Like, I mean, it's easy, I guess, for you to look back and say like, oh, you know, maybe you didn't make that one comment, but like, I mean, you've broken like pretty much every record that every male Kiwi has ever like.
Yeah, no one's ever gonna break that. I don't think.
Yeah, you're special already. So like,
Thank you. Yeah, and that's what I think. Like I said, the last few months I've sort of had a bit more, be a bit more proud of myself and the journey that I've had. I came from a town of like 10,000 people in the middle of nowhere in New Zealand, and just kept evolving. And I think to have that belief in myself of who I am, just to be a bit more of myself on court, not trying to be all these other big name athletes.
Just
have
because
that,
you are already there,
and the confidence.
Like,
I know, but like that's what I'm saying. Like just to have that.
Do you like talking about your your accolades? And you get interviewed. People talk about like reminding you of what you achieved. Does that get to your head a little bit, or not really?
It doesn't get to my head. Right. Maybe makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable. I don't know. Like it's hard. It's not my natural personality to be super like that. But again, it's probably something I'm trying to be a bit more. Like I used to see myself as like a role model for some kids. Like it's still, again, it's something that is very strange to me. Because I always looked up to people.
Maybe we did the camp and you had 2 kids flying in from Australia. Just to attend the camp, and that's just, that's insane.
So stuff like that is still trying to shift that, to see myself as that sort of role model or inspiration, which I love my country, and like if I was a role model, that's awesome. If I can inspire some Kiwi kids, bro, like sick, man.
But I feel like that's part of like white people. I want to be glazing up so much here, but I feel like that's part of like your whole sort of image or appeal, because like you sort of represent the type of people that like don't even, you're like living the dream that people sort of imagine themselves to be in, but you don't even believe that you're already there.
Yeah, but it's not good though, is it?
Yeah, it's not. That's debatable, right? Because like you're not letting it get to your head. Like you still believe that, like like oh my god, I'm like here, but like you're not taking anything for granted.
Yeah, but I think it also it's good, but it probably also holds me back a bit.
Yeah,
and I think you need, as a top athlete, you need a bit of ego. 100%. You need a bit of arrogance. And I think it's something that doesn't come natural to me, and it's something that because I always look at athletes like that, and I'm like, oh, I want to be like that. And you're always looking at people that you're not. That's not you, and you're always wanting, So I always find myself drawn to those athletes that are like really out there and confident in themselves, because it's not me, and that's but like I said, you got to be yourself, is right. Like if you're trying to be someone else, when the pressure comes on, you're going to get found out. So it's learning about who you are, and just trusting in yourself, and obviously always learning, trying to be different.
Is Olympics something that you're looking to end your career with, or is that any talks behind that?
I'll 100% be there for sure. But
probably carry on as long as you can, or
I don't know, man. I don't know. If you ask me right now, I would say that would be my last one, and I'm only saying that because I've played a couple of Commonwealth Games, and it's been the best 2 weeks of my life, bro. Like it's so good. And then I've really struggled the few months.
Always wanted to experience
I've really struggled the few months after that, going and having motivation. Now just imagine at 36, you come from the Olympics to go play a 70K on normal courts somewhere.
That's a bit.
I just feel like, but obviously I don't know what's going to be like at that stage. But in my head, I'm just thinking like, coming from Com Games, I remember, bro, like for 4 months, I'm like, it's just this is takes me back, man. Like it's nothing, bro. And it's like the Olympics is the next level.
Yeah, it is.
Am I at 36? Am I going to have motivation to go and play PSA? I don't know. Don't know what the tour's like. If first prize is $1 million, I'm going to be keeping
playing. Fingers crossed.
I ain't stopping until my leg falls off.
You're going to be the next, I don't know. Who's like the longest? I guess Nick kind of stayed along for like really long, right?
Greg was 38.
Greg as well. You're probably going to be in that line as well, I think, because you keep yourself pretty well.
Yeah, and you never know. Like at that stage, injuries can just pop out of the sky, can't?
Yeah, that's true.
Touch wood. Touch wood.
Who knows?
Yeah, it's tough to say.
When it's all said and done, what do you want to be remembered as? What do you like to be remembered as?
This is a great mental question for me, just to dive into myself.
Nadal's had to answer this question recently.
No, I mean, I sort of obviously, I want to be remembered as probably to be one of the one of the best Kiwis to ever do it.
That's done.
You know, well, we have like Susan Devoit, right?
Yeah. Okay.
I can't
Male
even
Kiwi,
I can't even get close to her. You know, so it's she's one of the ghosts. But you know, just to leave a good in New Zealand, New Zealand's very very proud of where I come from, and I think to leave a legacy in New Zealand is important to me, and just to be like to play the way that makes Kiwis proud. And I know what that is because I watch the All Blacks, and it's like, you know, they're just fair, they're tough, but it's like, it's just all respectful. And I just think I just want to keep playing that way. And it's hard, obviously, when you're getting drawn into other stuff. Like, it's like, I just want to keep that like legacy going of being a good Kiwi, competing on the world tour and inspiring youngsters and just showing them the way that New Zealanders play sport. And I think that gives me like a lot of emotion and energy to do that. So I think that's sort of something that's quite important for me now going forward, just to try and inspire these young guys, show them the way to do it and show them the way that Kiwis do it out there. So
that's awesome, mate. Yeah. I think
we can probably get to like the last section, which is our viewer submitted questions.
Okay.
So our very first question is going to be...
Should I have vented these first?
These are from the Instagram.
Well, I don't think they're too
messages.
Bad. Let's see. Okay. Hey, Paul from Zheng Heng. Hey, Paul, not to be too intrusive or anything, but how has married life been for you as a squash pro? Laughing smiley face. Being a full-time pro isn't easy, much less being a husband, so how do you do it? And actually, I kind of want to know, so did you or Nelly shoot their shot first?
Me.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah. Chased her around.
Nice.
Mate, I'm lucky. It's clear. I mean, she cooks every meal for me. She does the dishes as well. So,
that's a good deal.
Yeah, everyone says married life is tough, but for me, I'm a pretty lucky guy, and we get to travel together as well, right? Like, it's the toughest thing is probably watching her lose a match that she's not. That really affects me because I feel her pain. I know her pain.
Oh my gosh,
when we're in the tournament together, it's fuck, you know, like I feel it big time, you know. So
and like oh man, and also like if you're watching her play before your match and she has a loss, like would that affect you? Your game?
Yeah, I think we're pretty good now with like sort of, but 100% it does. Like we've sort of got an unwritten rule that like if she's playing before me, I'm not going to get super invested in it. Like this tournament, she was playing before me, and luckily Tina was able to coach her for me. But yeah, it's tough, man, because you can see like the pain in someone you care about, like, and you know the pain because you've been there, you've had the same losses. So like that's the toughest bit, but then we get to travel the world together. And I think if like now I'm away for 5 weeks, and if, you know, my wife wasn't with me, I'm away from home for 5 weeks, that's brutal, man. Like, it's not easy. So we so far so good.
So far so good. Okay,
still getting pancakes in the morning.
So he's a very, very spoiled husband. So that's what I'm getting out of this.
Still honeymoon period.
She might say something different.
2 years later, you're making your own pancakes.
Okay, next question then. What has been from Baryonyx34? What has been the most difficult moment in your career as an athlete? Very broad question.
One difficult moment. One of them was definitely losing my first Com Games final and the doubles semi-final. Yeah, doubles semi-final might have even been more, actually, because I was...
Who we partner with?
Joel.
Oh, okay. Right, okay.
And
you guys lost to?
India.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
Was it with Depicting?
I served out, bro.
Oh, no.
Yeah, bro. Like,
was it a match ball?
1-1, nah, 1-1, but like 8-1, 9-1, and it's won by 1, you know? Far out. I served out, pretty bro.
That's painful.
I was in tears afterwards, man, because you got Joel with you. You've got the whole New Zealand team.
I think it's worse because it's doubles as well. Like,
but like you got the whole, and you got the whole New Zealand team like banging on. I fucking serve out. What the? For a win,
that's nightmarish, bro.
Yeah, like still, man, it haunts me to the day. But like just the feeling of like having a team member with you, and then feeling the sense of letting them down, and then you got media to go off. Like I'm in tears. I've got like a news camera in my face, like this, you know, and I'm like far out. But yeah, that was probably one of the toughest, I think.
Okay, nice. Okay, last question then. We kind of covered this one already, but This is from Red of Real 20. Do you tend to play at the Olympics in 2028? Obviously you are. But a more important one is, what can be done to make squash a permanent inclusion at the Olympics?
Venue is going to be very important. Showcasing it in a cool way, which I know they're looking at some wicked venues as it is. I'm guessing it's going to be outdoors. Just really making what we were talking about before, production value, making sure we have all of that stuff locked in.
Yeah.
And when it comes, it's just like the venue, because we can put in such cool venues, man, and that will just go viral in itself.
Yeah.
Like, look at this venue, you know, like the Paris, the triathlon was in the river.
Yeah.
You know, like
exactly.
cool.
Yeah.
Right? It was
disgusting,
just cool.
but cool.
Yeah. Obviously it had but just stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about it because it was different.
Yeah.
It's so I think that's very important. Will be venue.
Yeah.
Making sure like referees and the games are exciting. It's not too, obviously you want the drama, but it's not too,
like the drama has to be for a good reason.
It's not confusing for people who are just, because there'll be a lot of new eyes on the sport. So you want to make it, and there's the thing like stats, heart rate, all that stuff if we want to do that, but just making sure the game's understandable for new viewers.
Okay. So our last segment is, we promised that we're going to give away Paul's signature racket to one of our lucky viewers. So what I'm going to have Paul do right now is, I'm going to pass him my phone. Okay. He's going to close his eyes. He's going to swipe it and stop the phone. Wherever his finger's pointing, it's going to be our lucky winner. Okay. And you'll have to read out his username. His or her username. Okay.
I think my brother commented this, so I'll try and...
Nah, that's... Okay, go on.
He's got about 10 records.
So close your eyes?
Just up and down.
Nah, just like scroll and then stop whenever you want.
You can go whenever, up or down.
Username?
Mauricio _A_. Mauricio.
Who is that?
Congrats, Mauricio. You're the lucky boy who's going to get a signed head racket from...
Who is he? Is somebody
Paul
we know?
_Mauricio _ A...
No.
No idea.
All right, congrats.
Yeah, congrats.
Okay.
Yeah. Right, Paul. We are super, super happy to have you on board.
Thank you so much for coming on, man. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Not just for the podcast, but for like doing our clinic and for the video, like just super.
The kids
awesome.
loved it. Yeah, it has a massive impact on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool what you boys are doing. Honestly, really, really like the effort that you're putting in and the quality that you're going to and effort. So hope it works out and
thanks so much, man.
Do something in the future.
Thanks, man.
For sure.
Yeah. Hope it works out for you as well for your rankings because like,
all the best.
It's only going to get better from here, I'm pretty sure.
Appreciate it, bro. Thank you. Thank you.
Right. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.
Peace out.
Awesome. That was perfect.
Awesome.
Yeah.